Hi everyone, this is Gayle. Welcome to my channel. We're going to do some mini griddle cooking tonight. It's just like I would do in the van, except since I wrecked my van, I don't have that option anymore. So here we go. We're going to make some tortillas here on the mini griddle. We're also going to do a cake while the tortillas are resting. So first, let me show you how to do those. And I want to welcome you to the channel. Now, if this is your first time here, make sure you hit the subscribe button and join us. And if it's not your first time here, welcome. I'm glad to see you. So we're going to start with the tortillas. I use the King Arthur recipe. I divide it in half. So this is 1 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/4 cup of, 1/8 of a cup rather, of vegetable oil. So there are a few things that I recommend you always have in your van. And it's just some of the basics like what you would have at home. So I recommend flour, salt, pepper, oil, baking soda, and baking powder. And I know you're like, but that's space. And I know, but hear me out, okay? If you're out, and let's say, coming from a Southern perspective, y'all know, if you want biscuits, then you want to be able to mix them up, even if you may not have a biscuit mix. You might want a little gravy over something if you are wanting to do like anything that kind of mimics frying. You're going to want to have these baking ingredients. Also, anytime you're cooking, what else might you want? Salt and pepper. So always have these. And then if you have space for anything else, whether it's steak seasoning or your favorite herbs, rosemary, garlic, and so forth, always have these ready and in the van. And they make really small bags of flour. You don't have to get the great big size, okay? And when we get to making the cake, we're just going to use a Jiffy mix. And all that one calls for is water and eggs, which I also suggest that you have if you like eggs. So let's just go ahead and dive into this. And I'm going to also assume that you have foil and plastic wrap in your van. If not, I strongly suggest that too. So flour, take a little fork, mix it in. Baking powder and salt. Okay. Mix that in together. Now, a lot of people use lard, and if I was doing this at home, I would use lard in this also. But because this is something that I would do on the road, I want to use what I would have on the road, and that would be vegetable oil. And let's see, Peter Parker is here. Hi, this is live video. Yes, it's a live video, aka live stream. Okay, so along with the flour, you want to use some hot water, and that's either you're going 7/8 of a cup or a cup. Start out with the least amount. Okay, so we're going to pour this in a little at a time. Just kind of mix it up real good there. So I'm adding part of the water. I'm going to add the oil in now too. Hey, Living Positively is in here. Your Brown is in here. Hi, welcome both of you. Don't forget to give me a like when you think of it. Okay, here we go. Just kind of mix that in together. You want what my husband would call a shaggy mess. Except we're not going to have a mess. I hope. Okay. So let me show you what I've got here. Okay, so this is plenty, has got, a good form to it. Kind of like biscuit dough, if you've made biscuits. If you haven't made biscuits, then it's going to be thicker than like your pancake dough and your waffle mix. Let me sit this right over here. So as part of this, you're going to want to use a floured surface. Flour it up well. And this is all-purpose flour. If you want to use self-rising, don't add the salt or the baking powder, okay? So here we go. We're going to dump this out. Now, in the van, I have a small cabinet by the front door, and that is where I would mix these. But again, since I wrecked the van, I don't have that option. Let me just pull this a little further back. Flour your hands. Yeah, we're going to do the cake in just a minute. It's super easy. It's a mix. Somebody asked me if you could do a cake in the mini griddle. I was like, why, yes. It's going to be flat, but that's okay. We'll get this all nice and kneaded. It just takes like a minute to do this. So we've got it rolled out here a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to divide this into sections. Now, to be good and precise with this, you would cut it. Honestly, when I'm in the van and I'm cooking, I tend just to break it off. But because you all are watching and I have the option, I'm going to use a spoon, because if I do have it in the van, chances are I'm going to use a spoon so I don't have to wash too many dishes. And just cut it in half. Cut it in half again. And we're going to cut these pieces in half. Okay, so you've got small pieces here. We're going to roll them up into a little ball. Now I'm going to put them on the baking sheet. Now I just have them on this baking sheet to dry. To rest. If I was in the van, I'm just going to use a plate. It doesn't matter what you put them on, as long as they don't stick together and you won't knock them off. Okay, so let me show you two right here. I've got two different sizes going on. So this is a smaller piece. This, of course, is much bigger. So I'm actually going to pinch part of this off, just like I would if I was in the van, because it's a mini griddle. You don't want something really big. And I'm going to pinch part of this one off too. And I'm also going to, these are a little bit big in general. Okay. Here we go. And of course, the mini griddle is what I primarily cook on when I'm traveling. I want something easy on road trips. And the mini griddle's as easy as it gets. One of the reasons why I really like it is because it doesn't take a lot of electricity. So if you're on solar, that's a huge concern. And so it doesn't take a lot of electricity. It also tends to cook things a little bit faster because it's a clamshell griddle. You don't have to spend as much time waiting for something to cook because you're cooking on both halves at the same time. So if you're cooking on both halves, then obviously it's going to cook a little bit faster for you, which is really nice anytime you're hungry and you're waiting on something. Who wants to wait a half hour for dinner, right? Okay. I'm having trouble seeing some of the comments there. So, but I will get to them in just a few minutes. Here's another one that's a little bit big. You got to remember too, size-wise, you are cooking in a mini griddle. So you don't want anything that's huge. But, you can also, you can always have more than one. Now I'll show you what I've got here. This one's a little bit big. This one's a little bit big. Okay. So instead of going in half and cutting it in half again, cut those pieces in half, okay? You're going to be, I think, much more satisfied with that. Also, if you have the flour when you're out and about, it's cheaper, Okay, here's what I've got. I'm going to cover these with foil. That way they don't dry out while they're resting. And I'm sorry, I said foil, didn't I? Good grief. Plastic wrap. Plastic wrap's what you need. Now, let me set these over here. And it's 8:18. Okay, I'm going to clean this surface. And then I'm going to show you about cooking the cake. And like I said, the cake is a mix. And again, if I was in the van, I would be on my little counter. And instead of scraping this, I would just be washing it and then going over it with a Clorox wipe. I use Clorox wipe in my van a lot. I actually probably use them in my van a lot more than I do at home because I think the risk is higher of getting bugs and things than it is at home. And you probably notice the bowl that I just used, that one's glass, and that is one straight out of my van because I like to be able to see. I know, I'm weird. But we already knew that. Because what 50-year-old is out doing van life and leaving her husband behind if she's not 2 or 3 degrees off plumb? Right? But that's okay. I have fun. Okay. Now we're going to do the cake. And I have the mini griddle heating up over here. I'm going to turn that so you can see it a little easier. There we go. Now, I don't usually, when I'm cooking on the mini griddle, I don't usually use cooking spray because it's already got a good seal on it. I mean, a good slick surface on it. But when I'm doing cakes or biscuits, or something like that, I'm going to put either a tad of butter on it or I'll have cooking spray. Now, this is not something I'm going to have in the van. The reason is if you're traveling, and let's say maybe you're in the desert Southwest, do you really want something in the van that's under pressure? Because the hotter it is, the more likely this is to explode. So I will typically use good old-fashioned butter, put a little pad on there, and wipe it. So that's the one difference. Okay. So now for the little cake. I've got the 3 ingredients. Let me grab a plate too. I can't believe I forgot that. And again, if I was in the van, I have little plates within grasp, right? And for supplies in the van, you're always going to want a little spatula, a whisk. Now, your whisk doesn't have to be this big. I prefer it, but I'm only me inside the van. If I had somebody else traveling with me and I had to be real cognizant of space more so than just me and the dog, I would have miniature everything. But as it is, I just have miniature on some things. So I've got that. All right. So to mix this up, it's just a jiffy. This is a yellow cake mix. That's all. Nothing really fancy here. You can get fancy in the van, but we're not getting fancy tonight. I do have some other recipes and things that I have made on the mini griddle in the van. So if you're looking for mini griddle recipes, head on over. I will put the links down below. It's all right. Cake mix. And honestly, if you just want to do a quarter of the cake mix or half of the cake mix, that's fine. Just divide it up real good and lower your ingredients accordingly. The only thing you're going to have a problem on is the egg, because this does take one mix. It takes half cup of water and the egg. Let me see if I can find the recipe. Okay, here we go. The recipe is right on the box. So if you're going to half it, that's fine. You can do that. I'm going to go ahead and make the whole thing because hubby will be in here shortly. And it'll be a nice little treat for him. And I will also save part of this because it freezes well. So if you're in a van and you've got a freezer, you can freeze it. All right. So it's kind of lumpy. So I always go in and hit it with a whisk at first just to break up the little lumps. I hate lumps. Okay. Then next we have the egg. Mix that up a little bit. And the water, and you want cold water. This has had ice in it. The temperature of things is very important. You want to follow that as much as possible, because it does make a difference if you're going to be baking in the mini griddle. I haven't noticed that much of a difference at home when I'm making, but mini griddle cooking is just different. And I have been known to take this little mini griddle to a hotel with me when I was out and going to a hotel, especially if I'm at a conference and I think I'm going to be out late at a conference and I don't want to deal with Uber. I can just cook something real quick in this. So I'll take a couple of little things with me. Because Uber Eats is great, but sometimes it takes them a while. Or have y'all noticed that? I'm sure you have. Okay. So that's a good consistency right there. Let me just set this off to the side. My husband's going to die when he sees the kitchen. Shh. It's kind of a mess. We won't tell him, right? Okay, spray it. And people are always surprised when I talk about making certain things on the mini griddle. But mini griddle cooking, you can do anything on the mini griddle just about that you can do at home that you would be sauteing or frying or doing a little baking. Of course, the difference is you're going to have small sizes. So if you're cooking for 2 or 3 people, just remember that, okay? So I am spooning this in. I'm covering the bottom really well. Okay. I'm going to close the lid. Normally, this would cook for 25 to 30 minutes, but usually in the mini griddle, it takes about 10. And yeah. So let me get a little closer to my computer here so I can talk to you all better and see your comments while this is cooking. Okay, so who all have we got in here? Let's see, we've got, whoops, I've got flour on my mouse. Shock, right? Okay. So Peter Parker is in. So hi, Peter. Living Positively After Challenges is in. So hi, Living Positively. Good to see you. We have Daniel Brown in saying, Living, hi, how are you today? Okay, here we go. He's saying also to me, hi, how are you today? Good morning, New Zealand. Welcome to, yes, my good friend. Happy Easter with eggs. So a happy Easter to you too. That's so fun. Yeah, we're having Easter. Ours, as you all know, is tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to it. It's been a phenomenally busy week. Yeah. Just checking on that cooking there. It's been a phenomenally busy week. We do, I won't say it's an angel food cake. It's just your regular Jiffy cake. But yeah, we do what they call Holy Week at church, which it starts on Palm Sunday. And then each day leading up to Easter, we do different things and special services and things like that. It's always a lot of fun, but oh my stars, it is a lot of work, let me tell you. So I'm pretty tired. And then tomorrow starts early. One of the churches has a breakfast before church. So that starts much earlier. And then we'll have that church to take care of. And then we'll go to the other one. So my husband's got 2 churches. It's crazy. But it's really, really good. We've had like at the Holy Week services, we had a fair number of people. And I feel like after the hurricane with all the damage, I feel like we've needed that just to have those services and have like a sense of normalcy. Hey, Hub.
Hello.
He's here.
Hello.
Hubby's in here. Say
Hello.
hi.
Hello, YouTube. Hope everyone's okay.
Yep. And he's been busy at church, except I also sent him to the store.
Yes.
With a shopping list.
Oh, boy.
I hope you got everything.
Me too.
So, all right. I'm sure you got the spaghetti sauce and stuff because you knew we were making spaghetti tomorrow. So, or tomato sauce, I should say. I don't know why I'm even saying spaghetti sauce. I'm doing homemade meatballs and stuff. So, like, jarred spaghetti sauce is like the worst for it. So, anyway, back over here to the cake because it's steaming. Yes, you all got a glimpse of my dirty kitchen. I'm so sorry. Okay, so you see lots of steam coming out of this. Let me tip it down some more. And I'm just going to tell you, I'd planned to use a couple of different cameras and have everything set up. And I was going to use Streamlabs and life was going to be wonderful. And then technology happened. What can I say? All right, so we have, and you all can't see this. Let me pull it around a little bit more here so you all can see it. Okay, so we have, ta-da, we have the mini griddle, and this is already done. So we're going to pull it off. See how nice that is? It's brown on one side, not as brown on the other, but that's okay. The reason it's browner on one side than the other is because this side was more on the cooking surface than this side. But you can tell from the feel of it that it's already cooked.
Yeah, it looks good.
So here we go. And we're going to do another one. I think you can see it better this time. That's a pretty big scoop there. And we're just going to do another one. This one's going to be a little thicker. So we'll see how this cooks. Oops. I've got to close the lid. And often when you see a lot of steam escaping, that's your hint. So as you see the steam escaping, when you start to see a fair amount, that's your hint that you better check this. Because if you don't check it, it's really easy at that point to get overdone. So it's better to pull the lid and check it real fast and then close the lid and continue cooking, of course, than to let it burn, obviously. So let me show you. I've let this cool for a second, and I'm going to peel this apart. Oh, it's still warm. Okay. And you can see how it's kind of breaking apart there, just as it would be if you were going to have, regular cake. You can see that texture. There you go. And I know a lot of people like toppings on their cake, or, maybe you want chocolate frosting, something like that. And you can do that. No problem. Let it cool real good. Put the chocolate frosting on it. Another thing that you can do, which is really kind of fun, is if you want to, for example, do some apples and cook those in the mini griddle, then you can put apples on here, which is kind of nice. The other thing is, if you like stacked cakes, oh my gosh, just make your layers in the mini griddle if you're out in the van. And let me tilt that this way so I can see you better. So make your layers if you're out in the van, then let the layers cool, put frosting in between the layers, or apples or apple butter or raspberry preserves, whatever you like. This is your cakes. Do whatever you want to. But you can do that, and then you can stack them up and have all those flavors and stuff going on. So, there's just lots of things. And honestly, stacking it up and doing a small cake, probably not something you're going to do at home, but you're more likely to do out on the road, or at least I am anyway. So I'm going to taste this. Oh, wait. Can you see the steam escaping? There we go. I think you can. Now, this is steam. This is not burning, but that is our cue to check it. See what we've got here. Yeah. It is. Let me pick this up. I know. And you can see where it's starting to brown on top. And that's just because we put a little extra in there. This doesn't feel quite done. So I'm going to close the lid. I'm also going to taste this. It's just like a thin cake, which is what it is. So, just think about what you might want to put in the layers. Apple butter would give you, an apple stack cake. A lot of people do that. So, yeah, what would you all put in the middle of it? Would you stick with like your chocolate frosting, or would you go like on the fruity side? Another thing on the fruit side, if you've got a peach, cut it up and put it in the mini griddle with just a touch of butter on it. And you can use that on pancakes as a layer for the for the cakes, all kinds of things. And I did a video, I believe, where I was cooking apples on this and showing y'all how to do it. I've also done one on cooking blueberries on this and showing y'all how to do that. Blueberries might be a good thing on this if you're careful. The thing about blueberries, okay, is they've got a pretty good liquid content. So you want to make sure you get all that off. So if you can take the blueberries and mash them with a fork before you put them on the mini griddle, you're better off. Okay, here we go. And you can see this is really not any browner than what it was a few minutes ago. Touching it, it feels done. There we go. Ouch. There it is on the one side. So if you're going to stack it, you can stack it however you want to. If you want to stack it that way and have kind of a space alien shit going on, you can. You see. Let me get the spatula here. So you could stack it like that, have kind of a space alien thing going on, like I said, because to me, that kind of resembles a flying saucer. I know. It's just me. But however you want to stack it, like I said, it's your cake. If you want to stack it like that, you can. Just like at home. Sometimes you'll make a cake and it'll be kind of curved on top. When you take it out of the oven, you have that going on here too. No big deal. And yeah, let's get to the tortillas. I'm just going to set this aside for a minute. And I think, wait a minute. Yeah, I think we're good on the wait time. Frankly, I forgot to write down what time I put this aside, so I think we're there. Should I do that, or should I make another cake? You all tell me. Cake or tortilla? Which do you think? I didn't ask you. He's hollering. Did y'all hear that? Yeah, he's asking for a cake. All right, I'll make him happy. Gonna do another shot. Another spoonful of the cake mix. Oh, hey, we've got another person in, so do click like on the live stream and subscribe if you haven't already. And to the new person that just popped up, I want to say that normally I would be doing this in my van for van life, but I recently wrecked the van and I don't have it right now. In fact, the repair shop says it's going to be 10 to 12 weeks before they can get to it. And that's because I'm in the area has been affected by Hurricane Helene. And they have a backlog of vehicles that were damaged during the hurricane that they have to fix. So to give you an idea on how some of the vehicles were damaged, we were literally taking them out of trees where the water force like literally came in and moved them and shoved them up against trees. We had that much force with the water. It was insane. So those are mostly totaled, but we also have some that have had water damage. Some have been like, you park side by side in the driveway and the water comes in and shoves one vehicle into the other, and the front vehicle blocks some of the water. So you have that second vehicle that you can salvage and all kinds of things like that. My van, I had a tree fall on it. Fortunately, it was fine from that. So because of all of that, with the backlog, it's 10 to 12 weeks. But also, the other thing that's delaying it is the shop that my van went to that works with the insurance company. They're having to rebuild part of the shop because it too was damaged in the hurricane. So they had to do that, and they're still working on it. So between all of that, that's where we are. Now, I could have had the van towed down to Knoxville. They could have gotten to it a little bit quicker down there, but that's 3 hours away, and they've got some backlogs too. So what can I say about that? I'm really fortunate. It's just crazy like what happens sometimes. And I was in an area that takes me through part of a national forest, and there's no cell phone service there, nothing reliable. And I literally wrecked right in front of my friend's house. So I didn't know that's where she lived, and she didn't know that I knew. And so it was really funny because I wrecked partially in her yard, which was fine, but I'm knocking on the door early on a Sunday morning, and I'm like, please don't shoot me. That's what I'm thinking in the back of my mind as I go up to this stranger's house. And my girlfriend opened the door and says, oh, hi, Gayle. Gayle, what happened? So that was kind of a funny moment, but she was able to call my husband. Her dad is a mechanic, and I was like, I really want to drive this home. And he just kind of looked at me. And I'm like, no, really, I'm not that far from home at this point. And I really just want to drive it. So he was able to look at the van, and he was like, don't hit your brakes. Don't make any turns until you get to your driveway. It's going to make funny noises, which Lord help it did. And he was like, don't drive fast. So I got it home. I didn't have to have a wrecker and deal with waiting forever on that. Google crash detection did what it was supposed to. And with her having, a phone at her house, she was able to dial my husband, let him know. And of course, he panicked immediately. Okay, this is about 1 more minute, I think, on the cake. So, yeah. So I hope you all are planning on having a good Easter. Y'all got Easter egg hunts planned for the kiddos? I hope. We're going to be doing one of those at church too. It's always fun to watch. I can't wait for the day that I can maybe see my grandbaby out. But she lives out in another state. Okay, this feels done, so I'm going to go ahead and take it off. Stack it over here with the others. Let me grab the tortillas and we're going to see how that goes. Just a second. They're over here and they are waiting. They're not dried out, which you definitely don't want them dried out because, that's the flavor of your tortilla. So we're going to take it. I'm just going to push it flat. Flatten it some there in the palm of my hand. And actually, let me put some more cookie spray on this. Give it just a second. Okay. And here we go. You can hear that kind of sizzle there. Oh. Is there anything in particular that you guys would want to see me cook on the mini griddle? If so, just email me. It's Gayle, Gayle, at GayleCrabtree.com. You can leave a note here in the chat room, but the chat, it's kind of hard to find the messages later when I go back and review the video. So really, it's a lot better to email me. And my email address is down there below in the description box. Because, the reason we're doing this is because somebody asked. See? Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this up a little bit just so you can see how this has already gotten bigger. Back. And these were not, don't forget, these were not big tortillas to begin with. Okay, it's sticking a little bit. I probably should not have picked that up. Okay. So normally I would do the tortillas much thinner. I just thought for the, expediency there, I would not, but I think that's going to be a mistake. So let me go through, do the whole floured surface thing. You don't have to have a lot of flour for this, okay? Just go ahead and get it down thin like you would if you were making a tortilla at home. If you have not made tortillas at home, I suggest you give it a try, assuming that you like tortillas, because it's just fun. It's just fun. One thing that you cannot cook in the mini griddle, though, don't even try pita. Pita was a disaster. So yeah, don't even try that. I'll just save you the trouble there. Just yeah, don't. Okay, so I made this one a lot thinner, and this is going to turn out so much better. Let me pull this because I left this too thick. Okay, whoops. So let me put this on here. I'm going to have to trim it just a little bit because I got it a little too big. There you go. We're going to give that about a minute on each side. I am going to have to flip this. And the reason that I'm going to have to flip this is because even though my mini griddle is closed, I don't have a good cooking surface on the top because the tortilla is so thin. That's just the nature of the beast, okay? So when it's thin, there's just not the height. So I'm going to get this one ready. And this little scrap I can work into another tortilla later. It's no problem. I am going to have to add just a little bit of flour there to the surface. And if you're home and you've got a rolling pin, you can roll this out with a rolling pin. That's not something I'm going to have in the van. So I'm going to use my hands. In the van, I would either use my fingers or use a cup. And that's okay. All right, do you see some of the steam escaping over here? Okay, that's the water content, so escaping. So I'm going to take my tortilla. Just there you go, nice and flat. That's what it looks like on the one side, and that's what it looks like on the bottom. So I'm going to put that right back on there. Now I will tell you that these, where I used the oil instead of the lard, it doesn't have quite the same texture as it would if I'd used lard or Crisco. And that's okay. I mean, it works. But the texture is a little off. That's just, if you have Crisco, that works out really well. That's what you're supposed to use. It's just that, the larger canister just does not do well in the heat of the van, especially like if you're in the desert Southwest, for example. So that's why I used oil, because that's what I have in the van. Got a little more steam escaping here. And there you go. That's where the bottom of it was a minute ago. And the bottom of it now. And I can tell you it does need a little bit more time to cook on that bottom part there. So we'll give that another minute. So I hope this gives you an idea of some things that you can cook. I've done tacos. I've done a taco salad, kind of a deconstructed. It wasn't in the shell, but you can buy the shells pre-cooked if you like that. Where I've done the hamburger meat. I've done a mini meatloaf, which is really good. Let's see, what else have I done? The chicken in the satay sauce, which was really good. Fajitas, steak, pork chop, ham, biscuits, sausage. I've got, y'all check out my recipes. If you're into mini griddle cooking and you need some mini griddle recipes, check out. I've got a list. All right, here we go. Okay. So this, I don't know if you can see it, but it is nice and brown in spots on that side, and same on this side. And hopefully you can see that that's nice and done. And so that's good too. So I'm going to finish these up. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to give me a like on the video. Check out my other mini griddle cooking recipes. And if you've got something that you want to see me cook, drop that down in the comments below. And I'll see about doing that on a future video or live stream. So thank you all. Have a good night. Have a happy Easter, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.